eventually survive on their own just with the rainfall and or the precipitous amount of water that runs down through there. So
it's called the rain.
Yes, and so the slopes were planted with what we consider more ornamental type landscaping, so a lot of just ornamental stuff. So, which they have now turned the irrigation off on most of that to just kind of be on its own. This is a flood control channel from stem to stern, and so I don't know. Going back in there and replanting anything. I think if we manage it, keep the invasives out like tamarisk and tumbleweeds and those type of things, it's really moving along in the right direction. It's a really decent conservation easement.
Well, and basically, this is to meet some of the requirements that Fish and Wildlife would like to see us
on the re-up of because of the new stuff happening upstream.
Right, and they didn't have an issue with turning that water back on to get, we don't have to do the whole channel. We only have to do small parts and start building it, and Mr. Brad and Fish and Wildlife will be happy.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
Okay, discussion, item number 3, discussion and potential collaboration with IERCD for a field day with the Temecula Valley Wine Growers Association to host and discuss a Pierce's disease workshop. I got a call from the Temecula Valley Wine Growers Association, and they want to have a Pierce's disease workshop. For those of you who aren't familiar with Pierce's disease, it's what practically almost destroyed the whole wine industry around here.
About 18 years ago.
Yeah, and so
80% of the vines were destroyed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad.
So it's very devastating to the area, then, isn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
it's the same bug that causes the blotch on and kills oleanders.
Oh.
So nothing can kill oleanders.
Exactly.
But this bug does. It has a virus in its poop, and then eats it, and puts it on the leaf, and the leaf the matter absorbs into the leaf, and it spreads the virus.
Is it like a beetle?
Yeah, it's about that long. I should have looked. I would have brought one from the office.
Well, thank you. Show and tell.
Show and tell. Yeah, but they're about this long, and they're very evasive. When you go, like if you see them on a plant, they will hide. They'll go around the other side of they'll go around the other side as not to see you.
That's impressive.
That's impressive for a bug.
It is.
Yeah.
She was saying you were impressive.
I don't know about that.
So how many years ago was it here?
About 17,
18 years ago.
Yeah. So if you drive out, you see a lot of, what I'd call fields that they had vineyards in them at one time, like by the convent at Vinny di Listonic, and then you go to the corner of Monte d'Oro and Di Portola. All those hills had vineyards on them at one time. And then you drive back in there. It was pretty devastating.
Wow, they had to rip them all out. They turned black. It was just pretty ugly.
Yeah.
What has happened with this is I've tried in vain to get a hold of Mandy at IERCD, and she's been at a national conference. So we haven't had a chance to talk to her about that yet and how we're going to go about that. So I'm going to table that till the next meeting, so I can have a discussion with her and bring something back to the table. Item number 4 is discussion of working with Fairway Estates and Sawa on vegetation removal. I got contacted by the new property managers that are part of Fairway Estates, which is in Bear Creek Association. For Judy, for you and Stacy, we had not a good experience with Bear Creek Association.
The Master
Association. However, Fairway Estates was very good, and they paid their bill, and we all agreed as a board that we would not hesitate to do work with them again. I did tell the gentlemen, both of them, that we would have, I guess James is aware of it, at Sawa, and he's supposed to call me and let me know when he's going out there, or you, or both of us.
Okay.
And
then finish the removals of what we started 2 years ago then?
Well, they're new people, so what I explained to them is that what we're going to do is what we had discussed as a board later. The first thing we are going to do is see what their budget, the original young man that talked to me said that their budget was the same as last time. But his boss said that's not necessarily so. It'll probably be more. And so I said, well, we need to look at the location again, because apparently there's rodents and vermin that are coming up the hills, and so now the homeowners are screaming. I explained to him that what we're going to do first is take a look at the location, see what their budget is, see what we are able to do with that amount of money. But before we do any work at all, we're going to sit down with their board, and we are also going to require that they send out a letter to all the homeowners so they understand what our restrictions are from Fish and Wildlife, what we're actually able to do.
And what our goals are.
And what our goals are. So they all understand. So no one can say, hey, I didn't know. They can come to a meeting. It can be explained to them. And then they will have to give us money up front, and the check will have to be cashed before any work starts whatsoever. It may be a multi-level, portion. It will depend how bad it has gotten. But what we really want to make sure that these homeowners understand that we are not a fire crew. We're already into bird season, pretty much.
And or nesting
season. Yeah, nesting season. So we can do work. However, it's much more expensive to do it during nesting season because you have to have a biologist there all the time to make sure nobody's weed whacking feathers everywhere. Not very.
So the work that we did a couple years ago was a creek that had not probably been touched in, Lord knows, maybe 20 years. So there was all kinds of stuff growing up in it. Pepper trees, palm trees, tamarisk, and other things. Just, it was just a mess. And so I think we got about 40% of this section is probably about 350, 400 feet long done. And then we went in and sprayed a bunch of, little palms that were starting to come up to probably 200 or 300, just spray Roundup in the heads of all of them. And that's usually a pretty good kill for that. So I think, going back in this time is probably taking out some of that dead stuff that was there and a couple more palm trees and then making sure, because a lot of times the pepper trees, you cut them down, spray them, they still like to grow too. So maybe some remedial work on that. And I'm sure when James comes down, we can review that with him. But then I think there may be some additional work on the Bear Creek itself, not the association, but it's on hole 12, 10, 11. Between 11 and 12, the main creek that runs down through there may be some remedial stuff that needs to be done. And I don't know if that's a part of theirs or if that's
we'll find out. What they are trying to do is get the property management for all of it. So we shall see.
Let me add to this too. I think there's some more opportunity there too. There's new ownership with the golf course.
That's why the new property managers have been brought in.
Maybe not. But with that in mind, they have been, I use the word, maintaining the creek bed. Maybe not the way that it should be maintained. And so maybe there's an opportunity for us
Are they allowed to work in there?
I don't really think so,
No,
but I think it just happens because of, just because. It's always happened that way in the future. But there's some smaller creeks that are truly identified as blue line. But this is the main creek. I know it's a blue line creek, but I think that's something we should bring up in that meeting.
Okay.
So I think there's some additional work there.
And we can get a better feel for where since it's.
Yeah, I think the maps are
somebody
still the
else.
same. We just need to relook at those maps.
No, but I'm just saying the overall picture of who owns it now, et cetera.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
All right, so we just wanted to let you know that that's probably coming up, and hopefully by next meeting we'll have a little bit more.
It's Steel Canyon, by the way, is this the new ownership?
Okay.
Out of Orange
That
County.
owns Bear Creek?
Yeah, they own Bear Creek now.
Steel, I'm sorry?
Steel Canyon, STEELE Canyon.
Okay.
Now, is that flood control, that's not part of flood control?
Oh yeah, it's part.
I mean, aren't they supposed to be doing some of this? I mean, that's what
Well, some of it's private property until the point where it gets into right of way. So I don't think there's specific right of ways in Bear Creek. identified as